Welcome back. Tonight I have 3 scary stories for you. Stories you won't soon forget. Lock your doors, turn off the lights, and listen carefully. It was a chilly October evening, the kind where the wind howled like a lost soul. My name is Mark, I'm 28 years old, and I'd seen my fair share of unusual deliveries during my time as a courier, but nothing could prepare me for what happened that night. I had just delivered a package to a new address on the outskirts of town. The house stood alone, surrounded by thick woods that seemed to breathe a heavy fog into the air. As I drove away, I noticed the eerie stillness around me. No crickets, no rustling leaves, just an oppressive silence. Halfway through my route, my phone buzzed with a notification. Another package awaiting delivery to the same house. A chill went down my spine, but I shrugged it off as just another job. When I arrived, the house looked the same, dark and foreboding. As I stepped out of the van, I noticed the front door slightly ajar. A sense of unease gripped me, but curiosity was stronger. With each step, I called out, "Hello?" Nothing but silence responded. The flickering porch light cast shadows that danced around me. I approached the door, pushing it open with a creak. Inside, the air was stale, filled with an odd, metallic scent. I set the package down on the floor, glancing around uneasily. Suddenly, the door slammed shut behind me. My heart raced as I dashed to the door, but it wouldn't budge. I turned back only to find a figure standing in the dim light behind me. It was a woman dressed in tattered clothes, her eyes hollow yet fixated on me. "You shouldn't have come here," she whispered, her voice clawing at my sanity. Panic surged through me, and I lunged for the door once more, this time forcing it open. I stumbled outside, sprinting to my van. As I drove away, my hands trembled on the steering wheel. I glanced in the rearview mirror and caught sight of the woman standing in the doorway, still watching, still waiting. Weeks passed, and I tried to forget the incident, but it haunted my dreams. Then one evening, I received a news alert. An entire family had disappeared from that very house. Their last known whereabouts were recorded the night I delivered that package. I had narrowly escaped a fate worse than death, and I swore I would never return to that job. My name is Sarah, and at 24, I thought delivering packages was the perfect mix of adventure and ease. I was wrong. The scariest delivery I ever made took place a few months ago. It began as an ordinary day when I received a strange package for delivery. It was addressed to an old warehouse on the outskirts of town, a place I had never been. The address gave me an unsettling feeling, but the thrill of the unknown pushed me to go. When I arrived, the sun was setting, casting long shadows across the cracked pavement. The warehouse loomed ominously beneath the fading light, its windows shattered and doors hanging askew. I grabbed the package and proceeded towards the entrance. Inside, the air was thick with dust and a musty smell. I called out, but my voice echoed back like a ghost. As I approached the center of the room, I set the package down and noticed odd markings on the floor, symbols I'd never seen before. Suddenly, I felt a chill run down my spine. A noise, faint at first, began to crackle and grow louder from the package. My heart raced as I realized it wasn't just a simple delivery. I opened the package, only to find a mirror inside, cracked and aged. But it wasn't my reflection I saw. It was the image of a woman with a contorted face, screaming silently. I slammed the package shut, my skin crawling. At that moment, the lights flickered violently, plunging the room into darkness. Frantically, I made my way back to the exit, but I felt a pull, an unseen force urging me to stay. I reached the door, only to find it completely sealed. I could hear whispers around me, distorted voices calling out my name. In sheer terror, I screamed and banged against the door until it finally gave way. I stumbled outside, breathless and shaking, never looking back. The next day, I found out the warehouse had been abandoned for years, haunted by the spirits of those who never left. I quit my job that same day, unable to shake off the feeling of being watched. My name is Jhon, and at 30 years old I've experienced a myriad of bizarre deliveries, but nothing compares to what I encountered one stormy evening. That night, rain poured heavily, and the wind howled like a pack of wolves. My van was nearly soaked through as I struggled to deliver a package to a neighborhood I was unfamiliar with. After several wrong turns, I finally found the address. It was a rundown house at the end of a narrow alley. With my heart thundering in my chest, I stepped out into the pouring rain. The lights flickered ominously, and I felt a shiver run down my spine. I looked down at the package. It was heavy, oddly wrapped, and unmarked. Something felt off, but I was determined to finish my shift. As I approached the front door, I knocked. Silence enveloped me, and I felt the urge to leave. I turned to head back to my van, but suddenly the door creaked open. Standing there was an elderly man, his eyes wide and filled with a strange emptiness. "You must come inside," he said, his voice raspy but oddly inviting. Against my better judgment, I stepped inside, the air growing colder. The inside was dimly lit, filled with old furniture cloaked in dust. The man led me to the living room, where an ornate wooden box sat on the table. "This package belongs to you," he said, pointing at the box. Confused, I shook my head. "I'm just here to deliver a package." But before I could leave, the man lunged toward me, whispering frantically, "They're coming for you!" Panic surged through me as the lights flickered wildly. I could hear sinister laughter creeping up from the shadows around me. I bolted for the door, but something held me back, binding me to the ground. The ride back was a blur, and I had no idea how I made it home. Days later, I learned that the elderly man had died the day before I delivered the package. The police found that house to be an old asylum, long abandoned. The package I delivered held a dark secret, one meant for the previous owner. After that night, I never set foot in a delivery van again. Conclusion: each of these stories illustrates the hidden dangers that can lurk within the mundane. The world of delivery, albeit necessary, can sometimes involve encounters that defy logic, reality, and the safety of our everyday lives. Each chilling experience taught me a lesson in awareness, caution, and, ultimately, the decision to walk away from a job that brought too much fear. If you enjoyed these true, scary stories, consider subscribing for more real horror experiences, and don't forget to stay alert, because the next story might just happen to you.